All right, and we are live. Here we are live back on the 10-7 show, the video version with Tyra Goose, and myself. We
What's
want to
up,
welcome
y'all?
you back to the
Hey.
10-7 show, and thank you for joining us and being loyal supporters of the 10-7 show and New Tours Radio. Make sure you tell a friend. And if you got a link today, share that link. Share that link with everybody you know and tell them to join us for the show today. Okay,
Yes.
because that's what we here to do. Here to have a little bit of fun, and we want you guys to be a part of the show by commenting, questioning, and all that good stuff. Because that's what the show is all about. That was the whole point of the show when we put it together.
The link is in the Facebook group too, right?
Yeah.
We are connected to the Facebook group, so if you're on Facebook and you're not in the 10-7 group, go ahead and join the 10-7 group. If you're watching on YouTube right now, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so you know when everything is being posted here at New Twist Radio, because we got a lot of things that are coming up and coming down the pipe. And with all that being said, you know how I like to start the show. How is everybody doing? How has y'all week been?
Good. Yeah, it was a nice week. I actually think the week went by pretty quick. So, how about you?
Yeah, I think the weeks are going by fast and the weekends.
The weekends are definitely flying.
Yeah, like this week was much better than last week. So yeah, but I always welcome the weekend.
Yep. You guys do anything fun?
No.
You're like, no.
No, we
Neither
didn't.
did we.
We're still
Zero
we're still
fun
dealing,
had.
we're still dealing with the whole pandemic, social distance, but we're figuring out some things to do. We got some things that we're trying to maybe plan or whatever the case may be, and all that. But we do have some guests today, and we're going to bring them in just a little bit. But for right now, the staple of the show. Okay, who's over there? Who's over there listening to me?
No glitch.
I appreciate it. So, as we always do, we like the staple of the show. Some people's favorite part of the show. Would you rather? Who got a would you rather today?
I do. I have it.
What you got?
So.
Okay.
All right. Would you rather have $1 million now or $5,000 a week for the rest of your life?
5,000 a week.
Give me money.
Yeah, $5,000 a week for the rest of my life.
Give me $1 million right now.
I think I'd take the million right now.
You know why?
Tell me why.
Man, tomorrow's not promised.
Well, this is true.
I might not even make it through the first week.
If tomorrow ain't promised, that $1 million ain't going to do you no good.
It don't matter.
That's all right. Leave it to my son.
That's what I was
I'd rather leave him $1 million than 5,000.
Is there a caveat
But
there?
5,000 a week, if he can get that, if she can get 5,000 a week for the rest of her life.
That's not what the question said, though.
Right. See, I already own the $1 million, so I could do with it what I want. See, you haven't earned your 5,000 a week yet.
I'll still take the 5,000 a week in hopes that I keep on living.
Yes.
Yeah. I hope contract.
I hope I don't drink myself to death because I don't drink that much anyway. But I would hope that I don't drink myself to death. But I get 5,000 a week. I'm definitely quitting my job. So,
Absolutely.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. We be looking for a studio.
Happening expeditiously.
Right. That guaranteed.
Expeditiously.
I'd be like, meet me at the studio.
All right.
Wait, we got some comments on. I'm sorry, y'all. We got some comments.
Okay.
Nina Hassel said $5,000. Sheena Carr said $5,000. We got people on pay. A lot of people. Everybody saying CG said the million right now. A lot of people saying the 5,000 for.
I'm going with the million.
I'm going with the 5,000.
All right. That's cool. It's your prerogative.
Absolutely. So what else you got?
You ready for the next one? Okay.
Absolutely.
Would you rather have 2 permanent lazy eyes?
Whoa.
Or always
Wait, I'm not mature enough.
I'm not done.
Hey, that's not fun.
Always get nosebleeds at extremely embarrassing moments.
What? Give me the
Neither.
nosebleeds.
Give me the nosebleeds. I'll take the nosebleeds.
Two permanently
Give me
lazy
the
eyes.
nosebleeds.
Like, wait,
No,
focus.
I
you
would
can
say
get
the
it.
lazy. Can't you get the lazy eye fixed?
No, that's not part of the question.
I don't know.
Listen here, I don't want to
not
go
part of the
around looking like Biggie and Forrest Whitaker's child.
Did Biggie get his eye fixed though? Biggie got his
I don't
eye
know.
fixed.
I don't
He
know.
got his eye fixed and then he
There's no nothing in the question that says anything about getting your eye fixed.
Right.
Yeah, that's not part of it. That wasn't.
CG from YouTube says nosebleed. Brian Washington says nosebleed. Nina Hassel says
Yeah,
nosebleed.
I'll say nosebleed. But
Yeah,
at the
nosebleed.
most inopportune time though, come on now. You had a job,
Yeah, like the most,
just start bleeding.
and then your nose starts bleeding. How embarrassing would that be?
Yes.
But why would you be embarrassed at a job interview?
I mean,
You could be in
It's
the
just
middle of the
awkward.
night.
They might ask questions you supposed to
know
know, but don't
something.
know it.
What? Here's the thing.
Well-
like, how embarrassed? Like, think about
Yeah, exactly.
how embarrassing are the moments? Like, we're not dating anymore, so it's not like I'm going in for the kiss and then splash. You know what I mean? You know, what embarrassing moments could I really have that a nosebleed will really kind of kill the moment?
Maybe the intensity of the nosebleed corresponds with the level of embarrassment.
Question
like
didn't
if
say
it's
that. I'm not allowing it. I'm not allowing it.
Hey, you just talking about you not allowing it.
You can't veto that, Trump.
No,
I'm not allowing it.
I've done everything right.
Yeah.
So,
I
well,
say
let us know what you think. Of course, the people that are chiming in on YouTube and Facebook. Tanya says she'll take the 5,000 for the rest of her life. C Will said he'll take the 5,000 for the rest of his life. People are chiming in, and they're joining us, and we appreciate it. And we do have our guests. Our guests are here today, and they're here right now. Of course, they're here today.
They
And,
are here, but before you bring them in, I just want to kind of go over like some of they're not their backstory, but backstory of the topic that we're doing today.
You know
has
what?
an article.
Let me tell you something, Tara.
Tell me.
I am so glad you said. I've been in the heat for the last 3 days, like directly in the sun, and I completely was about to go backwards with this whole thing. I don't think my brain is functioning correctly right now. So I'm glad you said.
It's been a 25-minute show,
And I'm glad you said that. So if anything goes wrong, we know who to blame.
Yeah, exactly. This is what you call it. This is what you call a team effort. So go ahead, Tara. I'm gonna let you go ahead and do your thing.
Okay. So it's just really short. Okay, so basically, this is kind of almost part 2 to the topic we did 2 weeks ago with Tara, who came on and was talking about how she, was kind of asexual and didn't realize until she got to be a certain age that she was a lesbian. She was more attracted to women than she had ever been to men. So this is kind of piggybacking off of that. This article is called "Why Women Leave Men for Women: What's Fueling the Rise of Later Life Lesbians." Now, I don't necessarily know how late in life this really is, especially for our guests because they're not old. So it says, it happens more than you suspect. So what's fueling the rise in later life lesbians? Just a personal tidbit, the woman who wrote this article, Lottie Jeffs, says that while she was helping her aunt fill in examples of reasonable behavior section on a quickiedivorce.com, an attempt to extricate her from a decade-long marriage to a man who had made her life difficult in so many ways. She took a glug of wine, turned to me and said, "I wish me and Penny, her female best friend, fancied each other. We'd be so happy as a couple." "Well, why not try it?" I asked, semi-seriously. "We're a close family. I'm gay, and so is her other niece."
I'm
So
sorry.
no
I'm
longer
laughing because I feel like I'm at in school, like
story time.
Like you're holding the book up like this and looking at the picture.
Passing it around so everyone
I'm
can see
sorry.
it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I've been in the heat for 3 days.
That's right. I know you're on the verge of heat stroke. Okay, we got it. So she says, "Why not try it?" And I asked semi-seriously. And then she says she's a lesbian. Her other niece is a lesbian. Nobody in their family would bat an eyelash. She said, "And we never argue," my aunt adds. "Everything would be so easy and fun with Penny, except the sex bit. Sadly, we could never do that." While my aunt is 63 it doesn't have the necessary sexual attraction to seriously embark on a lesbian relationship, lots of women do and find themselves in a similar position to my aunt. That is, realizing their long-term relationship with a man has been unfulfilling and they decide to start dating women.
So listen, just from that first paragraph, I'm like, why did they have to put it in the context of dating? You dig what I'm saying? She's getting, I mean, unless she wants a man.
No.
I mean, because she was like, me and Penny, we don't argue, we hang out, we the best of friends. But I'm not gay, so I wouldn't have sex with her. Pretty much is what she's saying.
Right.
So why can't they just be like the Golden Girls?
Well, I will say this, and I don't know where Lisa is tonight, but I did tell her to
Blanche.
Lisa and I, no offense to you, I love you. Lisa and I always said we're gonna grow old together. I said, Lisa, when I think to being in my 70s and 80s, I picture me and you sitting in a rocking chair together. We'll probably be on Goose's nerves because at that point I'll have 2 wives, but I'm gonna grow old with Lisa. It's happening. So, but I mean, I'm not a lesbian. I'm just saying, like, I know I'm gonna grow old with her. That's where I was going with that. Okay, I went off on a tangent. All right. The fact that gay marriage has been legal in the U.S. means that societal, it has never been easier for someone in this country to lead a happy and fulfilled life as a gay person. All this goes some way to explain why more and more women of my generation and older leave men for other women. It's just not an issue in the way it once was. Do y'all agree with that?
I don't think it's a big issue now. It's kind of like normal now.
It's very normal.
Yeah. Well, at least to our generation, maybe a couple of the generations ahead of her, it's still like a shock. But to our generation, it's not normal.
And then even more so to
it is normal
generation, because
I don't know what's going to be normal to that generation.
Well, I'm telling you, it is normal. Like Eli was in pre-K and he had friends who had 2 moms, 2 dads, and he was just like, oh yeah, that's so and so's mom and mom. Like it's, you know what I mean? Just like, yeah, it's Tuesday.
It has become more. I hate to use the word normal, right? Because it's like it's become more present. I think. I think that I've never experienced that I know of someone growing up that had 2 moms or 2 dads, but I do, like when I was working at one of the baseball places, one of the kids that came had 2 moms, and that was probably one of my first experiences in that type of situation, because a majority of the time when people were bringing their kids to the baseball, it was a dad. Sometimes handful of times it would be the mom. Every once in a while it would be both parents, but that was the first with a mom and a mom. So I didn't know who to talk to. Like I didn't know, like they didn't come at the same time. So I didn't even know this kid was even with them. But both of them were talking to me at one point, and I'm like, well, who are you? Because you're not the person I was talking to earlier. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think it's more present. It's definitely more present in 2020 than it was in 2000.
Absolutely. And we said that the last time, like think even back 20 years, how much we've seen a change in just 20 years, which flew by the way.
Right.
All right. So it goes on to say, this is just real quick, and then we can bring in our guests. To think that it is only external factors, more societal tolerance and inequality that might encourage a woman to come out in middle age is to miss the nuances of an individual's sexuality and emotional trajectory. It is natural for change to occur at a later in stage life. Oak trees, and I thought this was really interesting, oak trees can take 30 years to create an acorn. Some things need time and experience to come to fruition. So author Lisa Diamond, who wrote a book called Sexual Fluidity, Understanding Women's Love and Desires, said it's possible to develop desire at 50 that you hadn't felt at all previously. Or is it more likely that the feelings are always there, but you were just suppressing them? She goes on to say, both are possible. And if you live your life focusing on being a good wife and mother, it's easy to set aside your own desires. Certainly, our culture doesn't encourage women to prioritize their sexual desires. But it is also the case that sexual desire is a dynamic, changeable phenomenon, and it is possible to develop truly novel desires at any stage in life. So profound.
All right. Is it time, I guess, now? Y'all directed me to this show.
I know they've been back there for a few minutes, but I just wanted to kind of give everybody an idea of what the topic is tonight and what we're going to be discussing. And then our guests are named Cree and Mag, and they have been married. I'm not sure how many years. I know we went to their housewarming, but I'm not sure how many years they've been married.
Well,
but
they can tell us.
I let them tell
Definitely let us know.
We can bring them
yesterday
in.
was a special day for them.
Oh, God damn it. Shucks. It was. That's right. I
Hey!
forgot that.
Watch your mouth.
But so let's
She
bring
said shucks.
let's bring them in
That's not
and
what
let
I'm
them. Yeah, my bad. I'm sorry. Let's bring them in and let them tell their story. And then if we have any questions, I'm sure they'd be more than happy to follow up with that for us. So
All right,
introducing to you guys
Without further ado, we are going to bring in
Cree and Mag.
Cree and Mag, which I think their mics are actually muted right now. So.
Hi.
Hi everyone. How you doing?
There we go. How y'all doing?
There you go. There they are.
Welcome to the 10-7
All right.
show.
Can y'all hear us?
Yes.
Oh, they were
Very
so
good.
in unison.
All
In unison. They can hear us in unison.
Yeah. So, all right. So, ladies, now that we've laid out what the topic is for today, I just thought maybe we could let y'all tell your story, and then if you're okay with it, if you're comfortable with it, if there's any questions that you'd be willing to answer, kind of towards the end or in the middle, however that goes.
You going first?
So I'm gonna turn it over to you.
All right. First question. What's the question? Who would y'all like to know?
I said to you,
Well-
why don't you tell us your story? Why don't you tell us how you guys met and how you became to be?
Okay, you want to go first? It's up to you. Okay, look. So we've been married actually for 6 years, since 2014. So that
Okay.
So actually, we just celebrated our 6-year anniversary on July 22nd. Let me not forget that day.
You bet that.
We actually met.
Why do you think I named the show 10-7? I'll never forget it.
Mhm. Good one. So we met in 2008 at work. We both were in 2 separate relationships. So she was actually married, and I was cohabitating with my children's father for 8 years. Off and on for 8 years, let's be clear.
Okay.
But she was married for how many years at that time? 11. 11? Okay, so we're gonna go with 11, right? So
Okay.
before Cree is
Okay.
actually my first lesbian relationship. I did not experience women prior to meeting her. Cree, however, has been go ahead. I didn't do nothing. So she was more experienced than I was. For us, I don't think. Well, for me, let me just speak for myself. I wasn't to be in a lesbian relationship. It just kind of happened. The feelings and emotions. I think for myself, the dog was talking. The feelings and emotions for myself that I had for Cree kind of like came out of nowhere. But we kind of like, I don't know, you kind of like stole my heart. You introduced me to things that I didn't know even possible. So you better not cry. I'm not crying.
So you said you met at
work. So prior, I was working at Bretts High School in like 2005, and then I moved to Rhodes Middle School in 2007. So that's when I first saw her. And
when I saw her, she gave me the vibe like, you know, she was with it. You know, she didn't look as very feminine as I would, you know, look for myself. She didn't look like a lipstick lesbian. Like she didn't wear makeup. She just, you know, I knew a female, but she looked like soft butch type kind of vibe.
Can I stop you real quick for a second? Did you say a lipstick lesbian?
You gotta explain.
So those.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. You gotta.
I know what a lipstick lesbian is.
First of all, okay. So let me hold on. Let me be J. Chris for a minute. Number one, baby. I'm not a lesbian.
Okay.
Number two, I'm not a woman, nor do I wear lipstick. I don't know what a lipstick lesbian is.
That's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
It's just a very feminine woman.
Yeah.
You know, a woman that, you know, just is all about her femininity, makeup, you know, the hair, the clothes, and, you know, just about her beautifying herself. Whereas though you have some lesbians that wear baseball caps and saggy jeans and, you know, don't wear skirts or dresses or heels and stuff like that.
So I've heard more maybe derogatory terms for those. I mean, and you may know what I'm talking about, and I guess
for my side, we call them like soft butch or you know, aggressive lesbians, something like that. You know, a feminine lesbian can be aggressive as well.
Okay.
But for the most part, in our relationship, Meg is the aggressor.
Okay. So for the aggressive lesbian, what is like the politically correct term? So we say it right.
Lesbian. Let's be clear.
Okay.
What she said?
Let's be clear. I'm a creep. Okay. So there's a difference. You know, I love her. Okay. So our relationship, and you know, I don't really get into the terms of, you know, Cree try to explain it to me. Don't get me wrong, I still don't understand, and I'm not gonna say I'm not trying to understand, but I'm happy with who I'm with now and who I'm going to eventually spend the rest of my life with. You know, I'm not looking to label myself as anything for anybody to fit in anybody's category. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Yep. My name is Meg, and that's just bottom line. You either love me or leave me alone. And that's just how I look at it. So, you know, for Cree, you know, I know there's terminology because she's been in a lifestyle a lot longer than I have. You know, and she knows it. You know, she's been in the realm. She's, you know, been in, you know, situations where she's going with sisters and clubs and woodies. I mean, and don't get me wrong, she tried to introduce it to me, and I had fun. But I'm not categorizing myself. I choose not to. You know, I am a Black woman who's always been, and basketball, football. I've always worn hats. I've always worn jeans, plaid shirts. That's just who I am. You know, as a person. That doesn't make me anything other than who I am, and that's Magdalene. Period. Go ahead.
Right.
Got it. Back to how we met. We met at work, and I saw her, and I didn't approach her right away. She just caught my eye, and you know, I'm married. You know, about what I want in life. I've been physically, I don't want to say messing with, but I've been physically in dealing with women since I was 13. Okay. But before that, yes, I was a tomboy as well. I played with a lot of boys, didn't really, you know, mess with girls or nothing like that. I just wanted to, you know, be who I was. But eventually, I didn't really look into relationships with males until my teenage years, like high school almost. So before then,
did you feel like you were had to do that?
Did I feel like what?
Did you feel like that was what you had to do?
Yes.
Did you feel like that's what you had to do? Okay.
Yes. I felt like it was, you know, it was the way of life. It was what people expected of me.
Right.
You know, especially in my family growing up. I don't know how deep y'all want to get.
Well, let me piggyback off of what you just said. So, for me,
whatever you're comfortable with is what you're comfortable.
For me, if you ask my aunts, uncles, cousins, they've been saying I was going to be a lesbian or a gay, since I was little, and they had their picks, in the family. We talked about this stuff recently, and they would say this one, and that one, and I'm not naming names, but but I was one of those kids, right? So for me, I recall telling my mother when I was like about 14, I said, Mom, I think I like girls. And my mom said, why do you think that? I said, I don't know, I just do. And she said, her response was, well, how would you know if you never experienced it? And I said, okay, I guess I'm not gay. So I left it alone. Right. So I never entertained it. I just walked away from it. But years down the line, I had, I can honestly say I was never happy in any of the relationships that I entangled myself in. Entangled, the new word.
Way to use the word.
Yeah.
Look at it
there. But honestly, I really wasn't happy. I wasn't content. I didn't find I felt like it was something I was just doing because it was something that I was supposed to do. It's supposed to be this, and this is what I'm being told. And anything different would have been wrong. So to me, when Cree came into my life, I was at a place where I was tired. I was tired of being in this relationship. I was tired of being lied to. I was tired of having to work so hard and be the ends meet. And while my significant other kind of he worked, but he didn't take family he didn't make it as important or a priority as I did, us, when she walked in, it's funny, but I'll say it. I had just found out he cheated again. And I'm like, I wasn't even mad. I was just more so devastated. I was just like, I'm tired.
You were like,
so to have that conversation, she kind of approached me and was just like, what's wrong? And I'm like, what?
Yeah, because she didn't look like herself. Normally when she came to work, she was like, she had that swag. And I was just like, this day I saw her, she had on this frumpy t-shirt and some sweatpants, and she was just looking sad. And I was like, what is going on?
Wow.
Right. And that's how she got in.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Yo, wait. Because I literally ran from Cree for a very long time. Cree was throwing signals that I wasn't catching. I was like, yo, bro, this ain't for me. I got a man.
Right.
For a baby.
Right.
Pictures and everything.
She was throwing curveballs left and right. I was like, listen, sis, I like you and all, but we can't do this, right? I don't know what you're looking at, but I ain't married. Right. So, but anyway, that situation, because we had gone through so much, and I was just, like I said, 8 years of just back and forth. I was tired, and she just came in at that time when I needed somebody. You know what I'm saying? So I needed a friend. I needed somebody to support me. I needed somebody just to be there for me. And to keep telling people the same story about the same person for 8 years, he did this, he did that, he did, it was just redundant. So she was new. Right. And, and she was in a place where she actually encouraged me to stay. I was just like,
real.
Really? And she was really being a friend. You know what I mean? You built them up, you did this, and she was really there for me. Now, how it went left, I don't know, but it went in that direction.
Freedom how she did it.
Yeah, I want to hear how it went left.
It went
Freedom how she did it.
I needed her to trust me, and I was a woman first.
Okay.
I wasn't, trying to pants first, but I was a woman first. I wanted to be a sister first. And once we got past that, that's when,
yeah, definitely.
And, I gave my little sly comments, she would say something. What was the thing we used to say?
I don't even know. Which one?
It was like, I see you or something. I see you looking at me or something.
Yo, so I would walk through the halls, right? And I would turn around and I would, how you know somebody's looking at you? So I would be like, is she looking at me? She looking, right? And I would duck in places and I would avoid her for a very long time. Still want to have a friendship, what I mean? But I avoided her because I felt it. But what I was feeling was actually neutral. And I was like, why am I feeling this? This was bugging me out. Like, this is not who I am, you know, as a person. I'm like, wait a minute. And then one day, was it the car? I think it was the car situation. But anyway, it was one day she did something that most people, I don't know, and I know this is probably like the dumbest thing ever, right? But to me, it's very significant. You ever have, you know, and in your relationship, somebody rubbed the bottom of your finger, like the palm of your hand? Right.
Right. Yeah.
He had rubbed his hand, I don't know how many times. I ain't never felt a damn thing. Excuse my mom. I ain't never felt nothing, right? She did it, and I felt something instantly. And I was just like, whoa, what is this? You know, I said, no, this is not what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
And then, you know, but when she did it, it just scared me because I was like, I've never felt anything ever. Like a feeling, an emotion. I felt everything, you know? So then one day she looked at me and like she walked over to me. She just stood in front of me and she looked up at me. And when she looked up at me, I saw our whole future. All in one instance. I seen everything that could be in that one instant. And I pushed her away and I said, oh my God. And she looked at me, was like, what? I'm like,
I said something like that. I look like I'm about to eat you or devour you or something.
It was but it was like, but I said, my response to her was like, I had an impure thought. That's what I said. I said I had an impure thought. And I said, what makes that impure? Because society says so. You know, you're raised to say,
right, that's exactly right.
It's man and woman, but not woman and woman. So to me, in that moment, the thought that I had for her was impure, was wrong. And I never felt anything like that before, you know, and I never looked at anybody like that. Not another woman, you know. Yeah, I ain't never looked at a brother like that either, but I'm gonna let that go. You know, but I'm just going, but it was just different.
So at what point did you decide y'all wanted to be together? Like, when did you decide this is going to be us? We're going to do this. We're going to leave everybody else alone.
There wasn't so there really wasn't a discussion. So Cree's thing was, you making me do this whole interview room.
I'm butting when it's right.
Okay, so Cree's thing with me was, in our initial, you know, relationship or entanglement was I was in a relationship at home with, you know, my children's father.
Right.
And she was in her marriage with her husband. Cree always told me from the very beginning that she was not leaving her husband. Period, point blank. You know, we're just kicking it, right? And she wanted me to understand that, you know, lesbian relationships are very quick and fast, and people like to move in with each other, and you know, they're packing bags, and what you say, they get the U-Haul and they on their way. So I'm like, really? Like, you know, so again, she's introducing me to this life, right? I have no clue, never been in it. And I'm just like, I don't think that's the case. I said, it's something else. You know, and I said, Cree, I don't know what it is. It's just something different about you, her as a person, to me. But she wanted me to say the word that I was what'd she say? I was it wasn't love, it was lust and what else?
Infatuation.
Lust and infatuation. That's all this relationship was lust and infatuation.
Okay.
There was no moving forward. There was no relationship pending, no marriage. There was nothing. You know what I mean? We were friends who entangled together, and that we were just going to let it go.
Okay.
And 3 months in.
But you weren't okay with that.
No. Actually, I was. Hold on. 3 months into this.
Okay.
Whatever we got. So, you know, 3 months in.
3 months.
We were like, okay, we're going to stop. It started affecting my relationship at home. And I was like, you know, we're not going to do this anymore. And we're just going to move on. And she said no. And I'm like, what do you mean? You told me this is what it was.
This was your role, right?
Right. I'm like, what do you mean no? We have to stop. We're just going to be cool. And she said no.
Right.
And it just wasn't a no. And, you know, so we just continued. And then we got to a point where
okay.
Yeah, so I got to a point where my significant other actually left me. So he left me, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm free.
Right.
So he left. I was happy. I was like, thank you. I appreciate it because he just wasn't pulling his weight, and I wasn't moving. Like, I wasn't moving as a person. Like, I wasn't making any changes in my life. I wasn't like just no growth. I had no dreams, visions, nothing. I was just stagnated in this relationship with him, trying to keep something that just wasn't working. You know what I mean? Her issue was different, but when he left, I wanted more. I wanted more of her because I felt like the door is now open. You know what I mean? Like, what's up? Where we going with this?
Right.
Now your turn.
Right.
So wait, can I pause for a second here? Do you guys mind taking questions from some of our viewers if questions pop up? All right. So if you're watching us live right now and you have some questions, please feel free to be respectful and put your questions in the comments. Thank you.
So for me,
All right, go ahead, Craig.
My relationship was different. I was married for a long time. 1 year into my marriage, I stepped out with a woman.
Now, Cree, how long is a long time? You said you were married.
About 2008, it was like 11 years.
Okay.
By the time you divorced, you were 13 years old?
Yeah, by the time we got divorced 2 years later, it was like 13 years.
Wow.
So,
Was he angry?
I'm sorry. Wait a minute, y'all. Wait a minute. I gotta do this. We can still hear you chewing, babe. I'm sorry. Just because you covered the video don't mean you covered up your sound. We can still hear you.
It's hot in here. I got these lights on. I'm burning up. Okay, it's hot. I need some air. I'm gonna mute my mic.
Let Cree finish her story.
So 97, we got married in October. September of 98, I left. We didn't even celebrate our 1 year anniversary.
Oh. Wow.
I left with another woman. Like, he's known all about my lifestyle from day one. Whereas though we thought, it was a stage of life or something that it was just a phase, something that anything, it would pass, but it didn't for me.
So he thought it was a phase, you were saying.
Right. He thought it was a phase. He thought, well, once we get married, this gotta stop. We were doing things together in this marriage to please me, basically. But then he was like, well, once we get married, it has to stop. I was like, okay, it's gonna stop. But for me, it did not. So when I left the first year of our marriage, it was about 2 years before I came back. And the only reason why I came back because the lady that I was in love with, she wanted to go straight and narrow and go back to her dude, and kind of like broke my heart. And I was just like, okay, well, I still want to be her friend. I still want to be in her life. So I'm going to do this for her. And we did things even, it's crazy, y'all. It's a lot. We did things while I went back. I went back to my husband 2 years later, and I got pregnant with my second daughter.
Okay.
And we were still together during my pregnancy. The lady that broke my heart, we were still together, but we were trying to like wean away from each other, and she was trying to be straight, and because she didn't want her family to know, and and all that stuff or whatever. And then I was raised in the hall of Jehovah's Witnesses, and that's the lifestyle that I was living at the time with my husband. So that's where it got really crazy.
Yeah, I'm about to say that brings in a whole
You
new
were hiding a
dynamic.
lot of stuff.
Yeah, it was just a lot. It was a lot. Like, I've been through a lot as far as making myself happy and doing what other people wanted for most of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 45. I'll be 46 in January.
Instead of making yourself happy.
Right. And I haven't really done nothing as far as me loving me until I said, no, this is it. I'm not hiding anymore. And Mag was the second go round of me leaving my marriage that I was still in and said, I'm not going to do this anymore. You know, I have to live for me. I can't keep hiding and making my family be okay with, you know, who I am. I mean, my family shunned me away.
And you're miserable.
Yeah, like they cut me off. You know, my mom cut me off. It's been a lot. You know, I got this fellowship. Wow. So when you get this fellowship from the Kingdom Hall, no one is allowed to talk to you. Family, whoever is baptized, they're not allowed to talk to anyone this fellowship. So it was a lot that I had to go through as far as living the life that I needed to live in order to make me happy and make me grow. Like she said, in my marriage, it was stagnant. There was no future of like, okay, we're going to buy a bigger house, or we're going to go on these trips, or we're going to do this, we're going to plan this. There was nothing. I lived in the same house for 13 years, and it was just like, okay, that's it. You know what I mean? We raised 2 kids, and it was just, that was it.
Right.
And I was like, there is more to life than just what I am seeing in front of me right now. And every time, my family even said it, they was like, every time you're with a woman, like, you flourish, you grow, you do things, because that's what that's where I see myself. That's where I saw myself.
Right.
So when I got with Meg, we pretty much came from the same background, and we did a lot of the same things, you know, just messing with dudes because we had to, but didn't really want to, or whatever, or, you know, just using them for whatever we can get and just moving on, kicking them to the curb until we get to the next one, whatever, just doing whatever.
Talk about yourself. We talk about
leave it. You know, so
right.
Once we found each other,
all that stuff.
Are those your kids?
Who?
What kids? Say that again.
No, I said, are those your kids that you're talking to right now?
No, I was talking to Craig.
Oh, she was talking to me.
Oh.
Like I'm talking about yourself.
Oh, I thought I saw you look up. I thought I saw you look up at one of the kids, because we're used to interruptions by minors. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
We put the bleep on today.
Okay.
So,
okay.
all right. So let me jump in here, because it seems, because the topic of today's show is why women leave men for women. I got to read it because, you know, the Sun, right? And we actually had this topic a couple weeks ago, so this is kind of like a part 2. So it seems like you two left men for 2 different reasons. Am I correct in saying that y'all both had different reasons for leaving men?
Technically, I got left. So
because you were devastated.
I got left.
He bounced. So in her case, she was like, cool. Now I can really be me. You're going. So good reason.
But okay, so
right.
Mag, so with you got left, but you, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, you never felt like that going with it, that being with a woman was necessarily the route that you were going to go. Like you had the feelings before, but you didn't feel like that was the route you were going to go until you met Cree.
Yeah, correct.
Then what y'all built together was like y'all bonded from. Let me get in front of the camera. Y'all bonded from that, and that's how y'all relationship kind of developed. Because with Cree's reasoning, it seems totally different, but y'all were able to find a common ground within each other.
Right. So for her, like, she's my yin to my yang. You know, it's and I'm gonna tell you this story. You know, like, I'm gonna make it short as possible. But Cree is a Capricorn and I'm an Aries, right? Her mother is an Aries and my mother's a Capricorn, right? Neither one of us get along with our parents, right? But for us together, we're really strong. Fire signs. We bicker, we go back and forth, but it's a love and a respect that we have for one another that's different than anything I've ever experienced in my life. I have never, everything that we've accomplished, everything that I've accomplished in her, together, we did it together. Like, there was no hope. Like, I could have been where I am today 10 years ago, you know, if I had the support that I get from her, you know what I'm saying? And vice versa.
Right,
She
right.
could have been where she is 10 years ago if she would have had that same support. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't,
Right.
it's not just the intimacy. Like, it's not intimacy. It's something, I can't explain it, but it's something totally different. And she's my friend first. She's always going to be my friend. She completes me. And I've never had anybody complete me. Like, it's odd.
Wow.
To me, because sometimes I'm like scared. I'm like, yo, like how did I even get here? But for her, you know, her situation with her husband, she just wasn't happy. Bottom line, she wasn't happy.
Yeah.
You know, there was no movement. They were stagnant.
A double life.
She was always in who she, you know. Where for me, if my mother said no, that's not who you are, I thought that was right. So I didn't explore.
Really?
I didn't go out.
Okay.
I have a question for Cree real quick. One of the somebody from the Facebook group, Anthony Williams, he said that phase is denial for men, and you might have seen that comment pop up. Cree, do you feel like because you felt like from 13 years old you knew kind of where you were? Do you feel like he was in denial and just kind of wanted to be with you and just was in denial of what you of who you really were?
Absolutely. Absolutely. He did things for me to make me.
Yeah, because I was going to say that
to keep me, and I just feel like if he would have just let me be me in our marriage and not make it a man, you know, make it, what is it?
Just about you and him.
A command. It has to stop once we get married.
Okay.
But you were doing this prior to, you know, we probably still would be married.
Right.
You know, we would probably have.
Well, not really, because you wouldn't have been able to. You and Magdalena have built something that's so strong. If you had to stay with him, you wouldn't. It would be totally different right now. Like,
yeah, that is well.
From what I see on the outside looking in, I feel like y'all are where you're supposed to be, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, I mean, I watch y'all all the time. Like, y'all are like one of my favorite couples.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I feel like I wouldn't have left as soon as I did because he made those demands. If he would have continued to be that person he was before we got married, then I may have would not have left as soon as I did.
But you know, I respect because knowing Cree, like Cree is to be that person for her, like her person, that person that is her the most instant. I can't explain it, but I get it. Like I wouldn't want to share either. You know what I'm saying? So her
right.
Anyone would have definitely devastated our relationship. I wouldn't have wanted to do it either. So I get where his position is. Like, you're mine. I don't want that with anybody. I can imagine.
Yeah.
So believe me, his anger and his frustration with the situation is totally understandable. But what I do understand is I think for me, I guess I look at it like you knew. You know what I'm saying? You knew who you married.
Right.
I didn't know her.
Right.
I didn't know who she was. You know, she introduced herself to me.
Right.
She knew, he knew prior to that. That's our fur baby that just wants to be on the table. So you know, he understood where she was coming from in the relationship. So was it his desire for her to go left? No. You know, she is she's such a beautiful person. I feel bad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For it going the way that it did.
Oh, yeah.
He is. And I'm like, I couldn't imagine, like, we had this conversation yesterday. I was like, I couldn't imagine losing you. You know, just losing you to anyone who think. You know,
so Cree, so question, because what you said something, and I'm sorry if you guys already addressed this, but I feel like I need to hear it again if you did. You said if he had been the same person that he was prior to you getting married, you would still be with him. Does that mean that he was, are you saying that he was more accepting of who you were and felt like he could, I guess in a sense, change you, or you were going to change? But was he was just more accepting of who you were prior to being married?
I believe so. I believe he was. I mean, I want to say he was
and Will of the hood. I don't care. Very open relationship. Call it for what it is. They were allowed to have other people entangled in their relationship prior to marriage.
Okay.
However, once marriage came about, he asked for it to stop. Period.
Everything had to stop. Okay.
And then the religion played a big part in it, is causing it to stop.
Okay. Right. That's what I was going to say, because Jehovah's Witness, was he also raised?
Yes.
Jehovah's Witness?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
now what about your kids?
Say that again.
No, I was just gonna say, when you blended your families, how did you introduce the children to each other?
Bruh, we going to the park. Come on, let's go.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny that you say that, because I guess maybe 3 or 4 months ago, we had a couple on. We had a discussion about blending families, and we had a couple on who blended their family, and they kind of almost like were the same way, where they were like, all right, you know, you're going to meet them, they're going to meet you, and you know, we're going out, we're going to, you know, move, whatever the case may be.
When they met, they automatically, you know, became. They were friends. They were cool. Like, you know, we were all just cool. Like, everybody was playing with each other. You know, our children, and I can tell you their ages. So the oldest is 26, 25, 18, 17, 15, 11, and 7.
Woo!
Okay.
I got the Brady Bunch out there.
Wow.
Yes, they do.
Right. So, you know, putting them together, like, you know, we know that they didn't get along like perfectly. It wasn't like the perfect picture, or everybody was just awesome. There was pushback. We all received pushback. I got pushback from each kid. You know, we tried to keep them together, and they sometimes find ways to divide us, you know, but then we pulled back together. You know, there's nothing perfect about our marriage at all. It's just like a heterosexual marriage. We argue, we fuss, we have differences. There's stuff that we have to resolve, but we also build from each thing. You know, every time something is made to divide us, we find a way. We find ways around it, and we're able to coincide. Like, okay, well, we should have did this differently. Okay, well, maybe next time we'll try this differently. It's so funny. Like, you know, I have a degree in them. Like, I can be difficult, you know. I can be difficult, I can be rude, and sometimes she can be difficult and she can be rude. But then we sit there and look at each other and we're like, why are we arguing? You know, we ain't going nowhere. Like, you know, and it's nothing different.
Exactly.
You know, so the same thing with our
like that's what I tell Goose all the time. You mad, go in another room, scratch your ass till you get glad. You be all right.
The worst thing.
And it's the perfect. Even with our kids,
because you ain't going nowhere.
Like, now, we've never had all of our children under the same roof. How long now?
A long time.
Long time.
It just happened.
So
June.
All of them are here. You know, and then we got my nephew, so that's another one. So we got all these kids in his house, and you know, it actually works. It actually works, and you know, even though
that's
they
wonderful.
have their different,
that's a wonderful.
It's really a blessing, because we look at them and we're like, you know, they're starting to come into their own. Were they angry? There were issues with, you know, Cree leaving, you know, her ex-husband and the kids being up there, and you know, my kids wasn't upset with me, but they felt like I was choosing her, you know, and then we had to fight through all of that, you know, all those little indifferences. But the best thing about that, each time there was something that was meant to break us, we walked through the door together every single time. And it's
nice.
Like, it's scary that we can go back and talk about these things now today and just look at each other like, yo, we got through that.
It's been hard.
It's definitely been hard with my mother, like just different family members.
That's what marriage is. That's what marriage is. It's constant learning.
Right. Yep. And it, you know, with her, like, just having different challenges outside our, like, we try to make our home our sanctuary. You know, people that come into our home that we allow into the home, we want you guys to be on the same accord as us. If you either respect my marriage or you don't. If you don't respect my marriage, don't come in my house. If you don't respect my marriage, don't call me.
Right.
Don't fake and funk with us. Like, okay, well, yeah, I love y'all guys together, but I mean, I love you both, but I don't like y'all together. What does that mean?
Yeah.
We're married. There is
So I have a question.
Wait, somebody said that to you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. So I have a question before we start to wrap it up. What advice would you give married women or women that's in a relationship and are having these feelings or are going through what you guys have already went through? What advice would you have for these women?
My advice is just, you have to have a lot of courage.
I
Courage,
would imagine so.
and you have to love yourself first. If you don't love yourself enough to give you what you need as a person, then you're always going to be hiding or be stuck in a place that you need to get out of. You know, if you want to do something, in this regard, I don't care what it is. I mean, I know we're talking about married women leaving men for women, but that's with anything. You know what I mean? It's not just about this situation. If you need to be happy for yourself, you have to do what you need to do. And it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of strength. And as women, we are strong. So I feel like the things that I did to get to where I am now, I am very strong. And I know I can do anything.
That's right.
And pretty much any woman in this world can do anything. It's all in your mindset. You have to leave that outside bickering and things and people talking about you and making you feel some type of way. Leave it to the side. Let that stuff go, because those people are not who are living this day to day with you. You know what I mean? I had to let my family
That's
go.
exactly right.
You know what I mean? I had to let all that outside noise, I had to shut it out, because they are not lifting me up. They are not building what we have today on a day-to-day basis. So for anybody that's going through this situation, you just have to walk away.
Cool.
And we have children involved in this. Some of these women are single with no children or married with no children. So it's even less, I figure it's less harder without children.
Oh, let me say something. I want to listen to this. For a woman that's in a relationship that's not happy, don't settle. That's all I got for you. Don't settle, because I feel like I settled for years. And if you settle for the nonsense, you're going to continue to walk in the nonsense. You know what I mean? And it's a shame, because I wish if I would have went on my first instinct, I can imagine where I would have been, man.
Right.
But I made a lot of decisions based on what other people felt and other people thought. Again, like she said, you gotta shut the outside noise out and take you first and deal with you first. Right. And everybody else doesn't matter at all.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad y'all did that, because you definitely built a beautiful family.
Yeah, I definitely say that a lot. When you got to deal with you first, and everybody else doesn't matter. Now, before we let you go, because we got to wrap this up. We're running short on time. Real quick, we want to we put out our would you rather's, okay, and y'all had time to think about it. So y'all get the give the educated answers. We just kind of just put them out there off a reaction. So
do y'all remember?
So here we go.
Questions?
The one I want you to answer the money question first. Would you rather have $5,000 a week for the rest of your life or $1 million right now?
I take the $5,000 a week.
I agree.
Now, with that being said, I was thinking about it during the show, right? If I get one of them lotteries that's like $1 billion, I'm taking that right now. Right. You're not gonna be paying me for it. Give me that right now. They're gonna take taxes out of the weekly payment too. So it doesn't matter. They're gonna take taxes either way.
So you take the $5,000 a week, and then you will it to the youngest child who's gonna be here the longer, and you make sure that you
I gotta stop you, because that wasn't part of the question. That wasn't part of the question. Can't do it. Can't do it.
She's like, you would.
Can't
Question:
do
not
it.
mention any lawyers. About lawyers, attorneys, none of that.
Now the other, what was the
Remember
other?
the second-
I don't remember what the second question was.
The other one
So
was.
crazy.
The other one was: would you rather have 2 permanent lazy eyes or always get nosebleeds at extremely embarrassing moments?
Well, I already got one. I already got one. I'll just take the other one.
Yo,
I mean, I think I would deal with the nosebleeds. I'm all about the, appearance of things.
That's where I'm at with it. The nosebleed.
Look, I'm like,
Yo, can I tell y'all a quick story? Can I tell y'all a quick story? Like I remember this like it was yesterday. My first day in the 7th grade. You go through meeting all your teachers and stuff like that, right? My teacher had a glass eye, I believe. I believe it was a glass eye. And I'm sitting in the back of the classroom on the right-hand side of the room, right? And she called my name, and I didn't know she had a glass eye at the time. So she called my name, and I'm like, here. And she looked like she was looking over there somewhere. So I was like, over here, right here. And she said, okay. I said, no, I'm right here. I'm right here. And and like later on, I realized I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna fail this class. I'm gonna fail this class. I didn't know.
Nobody that knew that told you.
That's a shame.
crazy.
Over here.
Like, over here.
No, look, it was my first year at the school because our school was 7, 8, 9. So I was in 7th grade, and it was the second period of the day. So it wasn't even like it went around all day and I heard people like, yo, we got this teacher. No, it was the second period. So yeah. I did pass though, but yeah, I was a little nervous. Like I was hoping like she doesn't think I was trying to be funny.
Right.
I guess she
you couldn't have been the only person that done that.
No.
There had to be other teachers kids that did that.
Every year.
I hope so.
I'm sure kids have talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
All of that.
It's like legend now.
Left Windex on the desk.
That's so rude.
All right. Well, look, I want to thank our guests, Cree and Mag, for being with us. Mag and Cree.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much for sharing your story with us. And of course, continue to support the 10-7 show because I'm sure you guys are already supporting. And if you're not, you need to support. And follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at 10-7 Show. And of course, follow the New Twist Radio YouTube channel because that's where we air the show Sundays at 7:00 right there.
Yep.
So definitely want to thank you, and we appreciate y'all for being with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye, ladies.
Good night.
So that was Cree and Mag, and they sharing their story with us. We thank them for sharing the story with us, and we thank y'all for hanging with us on this episode of the 10-7 Show. Make sure you go down there right now, because you're there. Already there. Right. Hit the subscribe button. Yeah, below them. Jump over them. Below. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, and you'll know when we're coming on. And if there's people on right now, and I'll know if you did it or not. I'm gonna call you out next week. All right. But with all that being said, y'all got some last words before we get out of here?
Now everybody stay safe and wear your mask.
Yep. And they still haven't locked up Breonna Taylor's killer.
Oh God.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
I know that's right. It's a fine time to arrest the rest of the officers involved in Breonna Taylor's murder.
The rest of them? Did they get one or something?
They only got one.
Oh, okay.
And the supervisor that approved that no-knock warrant without investigating, he need to go too. Boom.
Yeah.
There it is.
2020,
so,
man. Please.
The way I see it, maybe they are, trying to, I don't know, maybe they building the case up so they know I don't know. That case
was so egregious, it built itself. They don't need to build.
Yeah, but there's a whole bunch of loopholes. There's always loopholes and stuff that people get through. We've seen it all the time. The police report said there were no injuries. How's no injuries? And we still see people get off when stuff like that happens. So we need an airtight lockdown case. That's what we need. That's what we need. And
all right, ready for one of our brick wall endings?
To get a guilty verdict.
Yeah.
All All right, y'all. So we're gonna get out of here. We'll talk to y'all next time. Make sure y'all follow the New Twist Radio and 10-7 on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at New Twist Radio at
Make sure y'all
10-7.
come back next Sunday at 7.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure y'all come back next Sunday and every Sunday at 7 o'clock, right here.
Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. I'm serious. When I say that, I'm so serious. Tell a friend, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Tell your mama. Tell your papa.
Yeah.
All right. All right. We out of here, y'all.
Tell your cousin.
Yeah.
Peace.
All right, y'all.
Peace, y'all.
See ya.